Hey guys, it's Jen. Welcome back to my channel. I'm a woman in long-term recovery. I'm also a CARC, a SERPA, and a rape crisis counselor. If you look at my description box down below, you will find the links to all my social media as well as right here. And you will also find a documentary, Smack, that I've been involved with. You will find a link to other videos that I did that tell you what all those acronyms behind my name mean. And you will also find my Amazon wish list. So my Amazon wish lists are super important to me. They are what I use to help my local community and what became supplies for life. So that is labeled go bags. I also have a harm reduction wish list, which is available by request only because I don't want to trigger anyone and it's not everyone's cup of tea. So, you know. There's also a bunch of other wish lists down there and just random things, so go check it out. Today I'm doing a video to celebrate 1 year of being on YouTube. I cannot believe that it has already been a year. It went by so incredibly fast, but also slow at the same time, like super weird, right? I'm going to review and just go over my first video, and I can only imagine how it's going to be, but we shall see. So let's get started. Okay, so my first video that I ever uploaded was I had my baby in a New York prison. Let's check it out. I was petrified to start a YouTube channel because the fear of the unknown, and as you all know, just drove me crazy about it. And she would constantly tell me, like, what do you think of YouTube? And I would be like, you or music or whatever. I never saw myself as a content creator ever. And God, my hair was so short. That's crazy. I never ever thought of myself either as a public speaker or somebody who would be doing the things that I'm doing. And this was a very large leap for me. I had no prior knowledge of equipment, lighting, sound, anything. I literally just sat down in front of a junky phone that I had at the time, and here we are, as it shows. My friend Jessica account for her YouTube channel, and I told a little bit about my story and how I had my baby while I was an inmate. So in 2011, I got sentenced to a parole violation for 18 months. I ended up going to Bedford Hills Correctional Facility in Westchester, New York. It's very awkward to sit in a room and talk to yourself. Now, actually, it's very normal for me and I'm super comfortable doing it because when I talk to the camera, I envision myself actually having conversations with you guys because of the rapport that we've developed in the community and what my comment section usually looks like. So it's not as awkward, but this was really weird. Like, I remember being weird. I didn't know where to look or what to say. New York, and applied for the nursery program. Everyone goes to Bedford Hills if you are a woman and you are incarcerated because that's where they do their classification. So classification is where you, everybody gets their files read and they decide whether they're going to be like minimum, medium, maximum, and then you go to your allotted prisons from there. So, believe it or not, they actually house the nursery program in maximum security facility in Bedford. So I still do it. It's just a part of who I am. I can see myself like tripping over my own words. I think it's part of like my ADD and my ADHD. Like, my brain goes faster than my mouth is capable of handling. And it's absolutely still that way. I'm just I'm a spaz naturally, I guess. I applied for the nursery. Now there's certain like steps that you have to do. You have to speak with, like, you actually get like a counselor, like kind of like in school actually. My hair was so short. I wrote my counselor, she sent me the application, I applied. Your application is, they want to know if you have any other children, if you've ever had any CPS cases, if you have arson, if you have been convicted of a violent crime, things of that nature. So my crime was grand larceny due to my substance use disorder. So I applied and sent my application back. My counselor approved it. Once she approved, you know, I have to say it's actually not as horrendous as I thought it was gonna be. I was really ready to be like, oh my God, this is so bad. But I absolutely have come super far in a year, and I do have to credit Jess because she's taught me a lot of things that I normally wouldn't have known. I do watch a lot of YouTube growing channel things and whatnot, to be honest. my lighting was shit.
Bottom level. Then it goes up to Albany. It actually goes, I believe actually it goes to the commissioner of the jail, the prison that you're at, and then they approve it, and then they send it to Albany. So I got approved. A week and a half before I went into labor, I got moved into the nursery. On the nursery, it's in.
And I kicked my camera. So how I used to record is I used to take my camera and I used to prop up a bunch of boxes, and then I would put like a 3-wick candle on top of it, and I would like take my phone, you know, and I would lean it on the back of the like the back would go onto the candle and the top, you know, would go onto that. I didn't even have a tripod. That's how I used to record. It's funny to see and remember these things.
An older building, so you walk up a flight of steps and you walk into like the lobby. Once you walk into the lobby, they have there's 4 different wings. The wing that's behind you when you walk up the steps is where like you eat and your kitchen is and things like that. I've done this before. So a few seconds, few minutes, whatever goes by, and I said to the nurse, like, where's my daughter? Like, where's my baby? Where'd she go? And they were like, oh, we brought her down to the nursery, you know, precautionary, you know, that's standard, da 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 da. So I was like, all right, can you bring her back? So the nurse was like, well, why? And I was like, well, I want to breastfeed. I want to exclusively breastfeed. I want that.
So imagine having your baby and you've never had a baby before, and now you're an inmate from a maximum security facility, and you get up to go to the bathroom after you just had your child, and you come back and your baby's gone. It was terrifying.
I notated in her chart. I had thought long and hard about this before I had her, and I wanted to breastfeed, and that's it. I did not want her to have formula at all. That was my decision. It was what I wanted. The nurse was like, okay, I'll mark it in your chart, no problem. And she calls down to the nursery, and they can't find my daughter. So for about 45 minutes, they cannot find my child. So I'm an inmate. It's not like I can get up and go walk down to the nursery and be like, where's my kid? At this point, I've only seen her for about 5 seconds, so I don't even really know what she looks like or who she is at this point. Like, we don't have any connection. All I know is I'm freaking out because I want my baby. Finally, a nurse comes in. She was like, so I found your daughter. She's in the ICU for children. She's in the NICU. And I was like, why? You said she was fine. They said, well, precautionary. You were in labor for so many days and she was in your birth canal for so long, bacteria can get in and we're afraid she's gonna have an infection. So we put her in ICU, she's in an incubator, and until her tests come back, we're gonna start antibiotic.
Like I was just saying, like, it's a very scary place. It's very scary to have your child when you are an inmate incarcerated in any facility, but when you're a max inmate, you're treated differently. And Bedford Hills Correctional Facility is very well known in Westchester, and it was a very scary experience to begin with. But, you know, hindsight, honestly, this is difficult. Like, I wouldn't change my experience for the world because it's part of who made me what I am today and made me the type of mother that I am today. But I would have changed the experience because she's my only baby. And I would have liked to have a normal labor and delivery and know what that's really like. And I don't know what that's like because of this experience. I'm unbelievably blessed and grateful that I even was able to have this experience and that I was able to have her. But in the same token, I would have liked to have my baby in a normal way and just have those first experiences together, have pictures of her when she was born. I would have liked to have been able to walk down and see her, you know, through the big windows, and everyone goes and sees all the babies and stuff like that. Instead, after I had her, I was chained to a bed. And when I was transported down to the NICU finally to go see her, I was put in a wheelchair. I wasn't even given clothes. I had a hospital gown on and like pretty much a diaper, and I was handcuffed and shackled. I was handcuffed and they put a blanket over me and I was shackled to the wheelchair. So, you know, I'm grateful beyond all that I had her.
So I had a really cool overnight nurse in the prison wing of the hospital, and she was like, oh, you just had your baby, blah, blah, blah. She was just really kind-hearted. I said, please, I need a pump, I need a pump, I need a pump. I want to exclusively feed her, exclusively breastfeed her. So she was really cool, and she actually...
I still fidget around a lot. It's just who I am as a person. Don't judge me. I really did get lucky. So that nurse, for some reason, I don't know, I guess... This entire time, this entire experience of having Bella in prison, I got really lucky with the people that I interacted with. I mean, don't get me wrong. There were a couple assholes along the way, but I choose to focus on the positive rather than the negative. I can focus on the negative out of this experience till the cows come home. But I try and remind myself at the end of the day, I got to have my baby and keep her. I was never separated from my child at birth. And that's a blessing, and I choose to focus on the benefits for her and I both of that. I was offered a breast pump immediately, so I was able to produce enough milk for up to 3 years to nurse Bella. I exclusively breastfed her. You know, and all of these things that I were able to do is because of these kind-hearted people that I met at Valhalla Medical in Westchester, New York, where I gave birth to Bella.
Went and got me a pump, and I pumped, but in between this, you know, when I was able to beg to be brought down to NICU to see her, the first like 2 times I went, they just put me in a wheelchair, the officer wheeled me down, and then I visited with Bella. Mind you, I had to wear a hospital gown. They would not give me any clothing, so I don't know, you know, you just had a baby, and anyone who just had a baby knows you need panties, you need certain things. It was kind of, it was like dehumanizing a little bit in a sense. So then a new shift came on, and all of a sudden they were handcuffing me to the wheelchair and shackling my feet and then just pushing me through the entire hospital like that. It was just...
That was probably one of the most embarrassing parts of having my baby in the situation that I did. This is supposed to be a very special time in your life, and for me, they took that from me. Yes, my actions put me there. I get all that. I know people are going to come for me in the comments and say, well, you know, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime, yada, yada, yada. I get all that. But in the same aspect, as I'm always saying, when you treat people like a human being, well, that's what you get in return, right? This was so offensive and scary and just unnecessary. I am a low status inmate. They have my whole sheet with them. They know this. That's why some officers chose to treat me like a human being. I'm a low status inmate. I'm a low status inmate. I didn't have any charges that showed I was violent, that I ran away, that I did any of these terrible things. I had been in the facility for X amount of time. They were able to see my disciplinary, the whole 9 yards. Handcuff and shackling me to a wheelchair was just embarrassing and cruel for no reason. Could have chose to treat me a different way, but some people are just incredibly judgmental and jealous. A lot of officers were jealous that we got the things that we got for our babies. And I just feel like it made more of a spectacle than it needed to. You already have an officer, you know, a corrections officer. They have their, you know, uniform on and whatnot, pushing you through the hallways of a very prestigious hospital. People can see that you're an inmate. They're not dumb. And then here I am, every time I move, I'm clinking, I'm clacking, I can't, you know, they wouldn't even let me put clothes on. I wasn't even allowed to put a bra on. It was horrible. Where my water was leaking, I had to put the same dirty clothes back on to go back to the facility.
I had a good experience does not mean that I am naive to the horror stories of women that I personally know as friends that have delivered. I know of people who have had babies who have passed away because of the shoddy medical that they've received, or how they were chained to a bed while they delivered, which is just, ugh, I don't even know. Corrections officer or not, like, you're a human freaking being, man. Like, how do you do that? We're not animals. We make mistakes. I was incarcerated. Every time I've ever gotten incarcerated is because of my substance use disorder. I'm an addict. I don't choose it. I don't want it. I am an addict who is on the recovery part of her addiction, but I will die an addict. I will never not be an addict. For the rest of my life, I will be someone who suffers from substance use disorder. And now...
Amen to that. And you know, a lot of people say to me, like, why do you still say that? Like, why do you still say you're an addict? Why do you say this? Why do you say that? Because honestly, it's a badge of honor that I wear. It's not a dirty little secret. It's a part of who I am. It has made me the woman that I am today. And for the first time in my life, I'm able to look at myself in the mirror and actually be proud of who I am and the places that I've come from and how far I have come. And I will never hide the fact that I am a drug addict, and I will forever be one. And when I stop saying it, that's when the devil's getting in for me. That's when I'm close to a relapse, because I'm hiding who I am and putting on false pretenses. I'm a more refined version of her now. And yeah, that was amazing. I hope you guys like this video. We've been together now for a year, and it was actually August 14th was a year, but I needed my bestie's help on this. I didn't know how to do this. So, you know, another beautiful learning moment. I hope you guys have all had an amazing week. And remember, we recover loudly, so those behind us do not suffer in silence. And I will see you guys in a few days. Bye.